Wherever Lödwyn is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done for, but we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Gods, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Unraveled at last. We no longer feel her wire against our flesh. We are free always. We are free forever.
Silence falls over Paradis, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. You feel Sapadal close to your thoughts, stirring with interest. The god of the living lands is observing this moment, unfettered by confusion or fear. For the first time in centuries, they understand. The Paradis militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The Dreamscourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the plague came from a power beyond mortal understanding, and how it is finally at peace. Thanks to you, the living lands has escaped Aedyran oppression. The free settlements unite under a common banner and begin the fraught process of negotiating new traditions and values. The Empire withdraws. The frontier remains wild, but not for long. Fugitives no more. The rebels of Paradis return to their home and to other free settlements, bringing their skills and secrets wherever needed. For once, they have a future. The refugees of Emerald Stair resettle in Thirdborn, bringing their skills and research to aid the local community. What starts as an uneasy partnership blossoms into a bond of trust. Through shared adversity, they find common ground. In time, the people of Emerald Stair return to their city of Fior Iverno. Research yields new developments in the struggle against nature. Technology is shared among the united settlements. The Empire cannot get in the way of progress. For the people of Shatterscarp, independence is bittersweet. Those who cannot withstand the grief inflicted by Ryngrim's spell leave the settlements, vanishing into the wilderness. Those who remain find themselves forced to cooperate with others, often begrudgingly. With so many dead, the need to stave off hunger outweighs any distaste for certain trading partners. Solace Keep clings to its long-held isolation at first. But after mourning her friend Kostya, Mihala reluctantly deigns to open the doors of the fortress. Some dwarves greet newcomers with glee. Others still mutter darkly about outsiders. Mihala flounders in her earliest negotiations with the rest of the living lands, but slowly learns compromise. She develops a taste for Valian sweets. For the first time in many years, Kai feels an agreeable restlessness. Not to flee, not to drift, but to venture. He visits the distant shores Tama told him about, and savors the modern marvels, ancient wonders, and breathtaking expanses he beholds. His heart swells, not with grief, but with awe. There is so much to discover, and he will spend his years chasing all of the joy and beauty the world has to offer him. But the most unexpected boon of Kai's adventures is the romance that blossoms with the Envoy. He'd thought his chance at love died with Tama. But after the envoy helped him accept that loss, he realized he'd found another chance with someone who saw him, knew him, and loved him as he was. He wouldn't let this one pass him by. With many of his anxieties and lifelong fears addressed, Marius now feels very differently than he did when he first met the envoy. Still far more comfortable in the wilds than among people, he nonetheless finds that his worries about the unknown were merely self-protection against the traumas of his childhood. Armed with this knowledge, he finds himself more capable of living in civilization, and far less fearful of his home in Galawain's tusks. While he never regains his former place as a warden of Solace, he spends his time traveling between Solace and Thirdborn, acting as a stubborn ambassador between the two. Giatta turns away from Animancy, charting a new course in life. The old rules don't apply to her. She has no responsibilities other than herself. Writing, music, sailing, sewing, love. She tries everything, masters nothing, and finds the inner peace that eluded her as an Animancer. She still carries the phantasmal focus, but it doesn't feel as heavy as before. No longer under the threat of imminent death, Yatzli returns to the Animancers. Reunited with her beloved Quilicci, she helps him and the Animancers as they put their lives together after the attack on Fior Iverno. Eventually, she even has something nice to say to Vidaro. As the days pass in contentment and relative peace, Yatzli is struck by the persistent feeling that something is missing. Though she still devotes herself to her studies of both the arcane and the godless, the restlessness never goes away. Freed from torment for the first time in centuries, Sapadal turns their prodigious curiosity to the people that shaped them. They observe the ways their people live, and they think deeply about what they see. Though they flinch away from moments of violence, and they grieve souls returned to them too soon, the rage that once shook cities to rubble no longer rules them. Instead, they come to you with questions. They want to understand. After a time, they begin tentatively to garden. Where they can, they improve the lives of Kith, and the suffering that troubled them is reduced, if never fully eradicated. Their grief compels them to love, and they love unreservedly, with the power of a god. Sapadal pours a fragment of their power into the statue they claimed from the temple of Eothas. Newly embodied, they roam the living lands and learn to experience the world as Kith do. Their first attempts at locomotion are clumsy, and a stand of innocent trees is violently returned to the wheel. But as their confidence grows, so does their grace. Soon, they are bounding across the plains of eastern Dawnshore, leaping the river gorge in Emerald Stair, scaling the shark's teeth of Shatterscarp, and fearlessly wading into the Tusk's acid sea. When they break, they come to you to put them back together, and in time, they learn to fix themselves. They wander far afield. You see less of them, but they are never far from your thoughts, and on the rare occasion they return, they always bring you something beautiful and strange. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.